Hello everyone, this is Dyson Stein. Welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. As you can see, I have started to harness the power of our local star with the Dyson Swarm, which is a collection of solar panels or solar sails swarming around the star in order to harvest energy. These solar sails have a short lifetime, so we have to constantly deploy new ones in order to maintain the swarm. Fortunately, the scale of stars in this game are brought down drastically until they're no bigger than a small planet. We can also build a Dyson shell, which uses a more permanent structure instead of solar sails, but for now, our objective is to create another Dyson Swarm in another star system. But first, let's take a look at how the Dyson Swarm works. So these Railguns are constantly deploying solar sails into their orbit to maintain the Dyson Swarm. And the energy from the swarm will be received here with the ray receiver. With the short lifespan of these solar sails, we would need a steady production line. And that's where this factory comes in. I made this factory complex for the singular purpose of manufacturing solar sails directly from raw materials. And with the blueprint saved, I can build the identical factory complex on any other planet. Now let's look for a star system where we can set up shop. How about this one? A neutron star system with decent materials and a unipolar magnet as a nice bonus. It only has one planet, so I'll go ahead and set a course. Before engaging warp, I like to make sure that the bias value is as low as possible, so that I don't miss the planet by too much. As we're approaching the planet, let's take a moment to appreciate the new practical effects for neutron stars. So we've arrived at the only planet orbiting this neutron star. Before setting up the infrastructure to build our Dyson Swarm, I'll make sure to build a mining rig on every mining spot on this planet. Alright, I've built mining rigs all over the place, and on this panel, we can see the veins that aren't planned to be mined yet are all zero. Except these two, because they're very close to the poles, and we need the space to build railguns. I've also connected everything with some power lines, but there's no power yet, so everything is offline. To kickstart this planet before it can sustain itself from the Dyson Swarm, I'm gonna place several artificial stars. Of course, you can also put hundreds of solar panels and wind turbines instead, but I have quite a lot of antimatter fuel rods just lying around, so I'll put them to good use. Currently 4 is more than enough to power our mining rigs. Now it's time to build the solar sail factory. Let's open the blueprint and find a place to put this factory. Maybe somewhere around the station, but not too close. Now we just let the construction drones get to work. We don't need to import any materials for now, because everything we need can be mined on site, so we set these to remote supply. That way the station will draw from local mining rigs and export the surplus. Looks like the materials are starting to come in. And we might need to build more artificial stars to power this factory. The top left part of the complex is done, and the first batch of solar sails are already coming. We'll let the drones build the other areas as well. We'll also set the station not to import any materials and export the surplus. Now that the factory is up and running, we'll set up the Railgun complex to start deploying solar sails. We'll put the entire complex on the North Pole. There are several railguns that are colliding with something, but we can fix that later. And it looks like we're missing a few hundred conveyors, so I'm just gonna go get some real quick. We don't want to import the solar cells because we can produce them here. But we do need the gravitons for our receivers. We can bury these veins with some foundation so we can cram in more railguns. The first row of railguns are already firing, but the other ones are not set properly. This is because in the homeworld where I made this blueprint, there's 4 Dyson Swarm orbits, and in this system we only have 1. So we need to copy the setting and tell them to point at orbit 1, and they will start shooting. Now we just need to repeat the process at the South Pole. After a while, the solar cells will start to accumulate, forming a Dyson Swarm in an orbit around the star. I decided to create 4 separate orbits for the swarm, and several hours later, this is what we got. We can clearly see that the railguns are shooting at 4 different orbits accordingly. In the Dyson Sphere panel, we can see the swarm is producing almost 6 gigawatts of energy, with each orbit generating roughly 1.5. The only thing left for us to do is to set up more receivers to draw even more power from the swarm. So that's how I set up a Dyson Swarm on an entirely new system. And we can totally repeat this process on every star system we come across. I will share the blueprints for the solar cell factory and Railgun complexes in the description. Let me know if you have any questions or notes, or if you have a more efficient way to create the Dyson Swarm. This is Dyson Stein signing off.